Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Today, we're going to be talking about forgiveness and exploring what the meaning of forgiveness is. So often, when we think of forgiveness, we think of forgiving someone else if they've harmed us in some way. And yes, forgiving others is very powerful and it can improve our well being and resilience, even if the person on the receiving end of our forgiveness does not know that we have forgiven them. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, and so is self forgiveness. So, today we're going to focus on self forgiveness and what that can look like when we fall short in some way. When we think about self forgiveness, it's really important to understand that self compassion is what lays the groundwork for us to have the ability to forgive ourselves. And self compassion is also a very powerful antidote to self criticism. During the month of January, we explored new beginnings, intention setting, and our inherent capacity for change. But the truth is that despite our best intentions, we do occasionally slip up, right? So, what about when we fall off the wagon, so to speak, and don't reach our goals or perceive a shortfall of some kind in the intentions that we set? Often, a typical response would be one of harsh criticism, harsh self criticism, filled with negative self talk. But what would happen if we took a different approach? One shaped by mindfulness, a sense of what it means to be human and the universal emotions that we all have, and perhaps some self kindness. So, what I've just highlighted right there are the three components of self compassion, which are mindfulness, common humanity, and kindness. So, to be able to bring self compassion to ourselves, we must first be able to pay attention in a mindful instead of an overly identified way without exaggerating our experiences by adding drama to the stories that we tell ourselves, right? That's the mindfulness piece. And we also have to understand that our experience is part of common humanity, right? Others experience exactly the same kind of things, the same kind of emotions. So we're not alone, right? And we can kind of feel supported by that when we think about the fact that we're not alone. Um, and lastly, we must be able to bring some self kindness instead of harsh judgment to ourselves by changing our inner dialogue. So, self compassion is a skill, and it's also a very powerful tool that can help us cope with setbacks and so that we can continue to move forward or get back on track. Last week, we explored our inherent capacity for change. And in this meditation, in the formal part of our practice, we're going to explore a healthier way to cope with the disappointment of not attaining your goals or falling short in some way when we don't attain the change that we hope for, or when we simply get off track. So, being able to forgive ourselves whenever we don't reach the goals we set is a really important part of having greater self compassion and self acceptance, which really also provides a boost to our happiness and overall life satisfaction. So, in our formal meditation, we're going to explore how we can use self compassion to deal with those times when we might be overly critical of ourselves, if we perceive ourselves to having fallen short in some way. Okay. So we're going to move into the formal part of the practice now, and I'm going to invite you to take a moment to find a comfortable posture, whatever that means for you in this moment. And then if it feels comfortable, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes or just simply softening your gaze, whatever feels right. And And now just taking a moment to tune in and allow yourself to really drop into the body. Perhaps feeling the chair that you're sitting in, maybe feeling the feet on the floor, or maybe even feeling the hands in your lap or on your thighs, wherever they're resting. Allowing these tactile points of contact to be the gateway into your own body and into the present moment. And perhaps as you're feeling the support of the chair, maybe noticing the support of the ground below your feet or the floor below your feet. And then sensing into that common ground, the earth that we all share, the one seat that we all share. Knowing that we are connected through this one seat, the earth that we're on. And just perhaps allowing yourself to notice, how am I in this moment? And whatever arises, allowing it to be just as it is, because that's what's here right now. And if needed, making a little bit of space for what's here right now. And now with the next breath, allowing yourself to tune in to the breath, to the act of breathing, the process of the breath flowing in and out of the body. Perhaps sensing how that can further ground ourselves into our body and further ground ourselves into the present moment. Perhaps feeling supported by the breath, but simply allowing the breath to be as it is. So, not needing to change it in any way, just following the rhythm of your own breath as you're settling into this moment. And of course, the mind likes to wander because that's what it knows how to do. And when you notice that happen, then just gently guiding your awareness back to the breath. One breath in, one breath out, another breath in, another breath out. Maybe just sensing how the whole body's breathing. And with each in-breath and each out-breath through the subtle movement of the body. And so now, after the next breath, the invitation is going to be to explore self-compassion with something that we may find difficult. I'm going to invite you to call to mind something in your life right now that is causing you stress, that is difficult, or perhaps even causing you some suffering, such as a health problem, a problem in an important relationship. Maybe it's related to work. Perhaps it's a goal that you've failed to reach. Or maybe it's something related to your identity, such as age, gender, race, ethnicity, ability. So just allowing whatever comes up, and if more than one thing comes up, just settling on one, but not choosing the most difficult situation in your life. So mild to moderate range. We don't want to feel a sense of overwhelm because it's difficult to practice something new when we're feeling overwhelmed. And so now bringing the problem to mind with as many details as possible, including what may have been said if other people were involved. So just allowing yourself to see, to hear, and feel your way into the problem to the extent that you do experience some uneasiness in your body. So just calling it to mind as best as possible and holding the entire experience in your awareness. And maybe noticing where in your body that you can feel this right now. Where do you feel it most? You know, perhaps it's a tightness in your chest or a pit in your stomach. Or maybe it's a tightness or tension in the forehead or jaw. So just allowing yourself as best as possible to tune in to where in the body you might be feeling this difficult situation that is present for you right now in your life. And as you're holding the details and sensations of this situation or circumstance, problem, saying to yourself slowly and clearly, wow, this is stressful. This is a moment of suffering. This doesn't feel good. So just choosing words that resonate with you. And so now that is the mindfulness. And now, next, you can say to yourself, again, slowly and clearly, stress is part of living. Difficult situations like this are a part of life. I'm not alone. Others would feel similar in this situation or have some similar emotions. That's common humanity. So finding the words that resonate most with you could be, "Aw, me too." And now, if it feels right for you, taking a hand and placing it over your heart, somewhere on your chest, or perhaps cradling yourself with both hands, whatever feels right for you. And if none of those feel right for you, then just allowing your hands to rest in your lap. But if it feels comfortable, placing a hand over your heart, wherever it feels supportive. So feeling the warmth of your hands. Offer yourself a loving touch, saying to yourself with encouragement, "You can do this. You got this. You did your best." So whatever words resonate most with you, and that's self-kindness. Maybe also taking the opportunity to ask yourself, what is the quality of self-compassion that I need right now? So is it to offer myself encouragement and be tender towards myself? So maybe it sounds like this: may I accept myself just as I am? Or may I care for myself tenderly in this moment of difficulty? But for you, perhaps this situation may require more of a fierce self-compassion, to set boundaries or to stand up for yourself in some way. And that may sound more like, no, I will not allow myself to be mistreated. Or may I have the courage and strength to make a change. And finding the words that resonate with you if you're in need of a more fierce self-compassion. And if you're having difficulty finding the right words, just imagine that a dear friend or a loved one is having the same problem as you. What would you say to this person heart to heart without giving advice? If your friend were to hold just a few of your words in their mind, what would you like them to be? What message would you like to give them? And so maybe it's, I know you can do this. I'm sorry that you're hurting. Or, I care about you. I'm here for you. So, considering what you might say to a dear friend, can you offer yourself the same message with the same care and compassion that you would afford this dear friend? Can you make that U turn and give yourself kind and caring words? And trying it out, perhaps. Saying those very same words that you might say to a friend. Trying them out on yourself. And at any time, if it feels appropriate, releasing your hand back into your lap. And now taking a moment to reflect on this practice. And just thinking about any shifts that you may have noticed. Did you notice anything after saying the first phrase? This is a moment of stress or suffering. And how about the second phrase or the third? And were you able to speak heart to heart to a friend? And how was it to say the same words to yourself? And just noticing what comes up for you. Was it easier, more difficult? And so now releasing this practice, returning your awareness to the breath. And just riding the waves of your own breath. Inviting some space and silence while we share these moments, these last moments together in this meditation. Remembering to use some kindness when the mind wanders as you're bringing your mind back. as if you were taking the hand of a small child and guiding it back. We'll end with a poem called Your Heart Will Bloom Again by Alexandra Vassiliou. See hope in your heart. Plant the flowers of self-forgiveness and water the soil of self-love. Be resilient. One day love will sprout deep down into your heart, making you bloom and grow again. So if your eyes were closed, just beginning to allow them to gently open, perhaps moving just a little bit. If you're feeling like a stretch is in order, or wiggling your fingers and toes, and bringing your awareness back. So the invitation for the week that I'm going to leave you with is to follow up on this practice. So the practice we did today is called the Self-Compassion Break, and it was developed by the Center for Mindful Self-Compassion. Doctors Kristen Neff and Christopher Germer were the ones who developed it. So today we did it as a reflective meditation, but this practice can really be implemented very quickly in daily life, especially using your own soothing and supportive touch in a moment of distress. Because research shows that when we use, well, touch is very powerful. We know that mammals touch their children, touch is very valuable. And so self-touch has the same effect. We actually trigger the mammalian caregiving or love drug, oxytocin. And so this soothing touch can be used in the moment of distress, and the self-compassion break can be done very quickly in a moment that's difficult. So I'm going to invite you for the coming week, when you have moments of struggle or difficulty, that you just take a moment to first recognize that you're in a moment of struggle, right? Bringing your awareness to the fact that, this is tough. And then also that this recognition that you're not alone. Many others have and will experience the same thing and have similar emotions. We don't live in a bubble or a vacuum. We're part of the human race, and our emotional experience is shared. Obviously differs from person to person, but the emotions that we have, we share them. We all experience anger at some point, or sadness, or joy and happiness. So in those difficult moments, don't forget that you're not alone. And then use words of self-talk that are kind, not harsh and critical. And as I said earlier, even placing a soothing hand over your heart or elsewhere. And this is a very, very easy thing to do, even when you're in the company of others and it's not even detectable. You can stand with your arms folded and just feel the gentle touch of your own warm hands. So thank you all for sharing yourselves today with me, and thank you for your practice. And I hope to see you very soon at our next meditation. Bye-bye, everyone.